$350, which is the cost to renunciate your citizenship. And I paid you your first class, flight to whatever communist country, and $20,000 of spending money.
Name me a communist country.
Would you give up your citizenship to go to that country?
Name me a communist country. And
Whichever communist country you want to go to.
Yeah,
Cuba, we can give you Venezuela, we give you North Korea, any one of those you want to go to.
Communist countries.
Choose any one of them, I'll give you a one-way ticket, and I'll fund it for you if you want to. Thank you, yes.
Hi.
What's your name?
My name's Hunter. I'm going to be honest, I've never seen your videos before. Even though there is some real value to free enterprise, the profit motive often creates a perverse incentive and worse outcomes in certain situations. For example, healthcare. How much would you pay for a life-saving treatment for yourself or one of your family members?
How much would I pay for it?
Say you have cancer and you have an 80% survival rate with chemotherapy and less than a 10% without it. How much would you pay? Whatever it takes, right?
Sure.
That's a situation of inelastic demand, when the amount that you're willing to pay is not based on the value of the service because your life does not have a finite value. In the US, 66.5% of all bankruptcies are because of medical debt. In most other developed nations, that number is way lower, if not zero.
All right, welcome. If you're new, stay. You ain't gonna be disappointed. I got a mouth on me and I ain't scared. I'm excited about this one. We got PBD, the one and only Patrick Bet David versus 20 anti-capitalists. This is the perfect guy to bring on for this segment right here because my man came up from Iran, war-torn nation, fled to Germany, was in a camp, then made his way through the U.S., was an Army vet, shout out to the Army vets, and then did his thing in the insurance business. He's killing it in South Florida. Real inspiration for me and many other people. Also, man hami Persian sobat mi konam. PBD, if you see this, I can speak a little Persian too, brother. Anyway, let's get into it.
The first claim is incentive is the engine of capitalism. Remove it and the system fails.
That's a good claim. It's a good claim.
Hey, great to meet you, Patrick.
What's your name?
My name's Mason.
Mason, good to meet you.
Yeah. I'm value-tained. I'm a big fan of the channel.
Are you really?
Yeah, I do watch it quite regularly.
Very cool.
I do not agree with your claim.
Dude, quick interruption. This guy is a fan of the channel, which is like straight up capitalist channel, and he's on the anti-capitalist side. This should be pretty interesting.
I don't think that incentives are only born out of capitalism.
Okay.
Most capitalist defenders say that incentive is because of scarcity, and people's ability to get what is necessary pushes them to work harder. I disagree with that. I'd say that some of our hardest workers are single moms working 3 to 4 jobs, and the resources that they're able to acquire compared to those that utilize their workers in order to build profit for their own companies is not equivocal.
So how would you do it? How would you change it?
Yeah, so I think that humans inherently want to be meaningful. They want to contribute to their communities. They want to contribute to society. When you look at depression rates, oftentimes it's people who aren't able to do anything besides laying in their bed and basically barely taking care of themselves. So I think that it's just a human intrinsic value to want to bring value to their community or grander society.
Okay,
so I don't think that it has to be through scarcity alone that scares people into working, if that makes sense.
I worked for scarcity. I think there's levels to it. You have the survival folks who work for survival to pay their bills. Some work for status, some work for freedom, and some work for legacy. The folks that work 3 or 5 jobs, to pay their bills and do what they're doing, if the incentive wasn't there, they wouldn't work 3 to 5 jobs. Some of the guys that build a bigger business that solve a lot of problems.
The incentive there is either I die or I work. That's not really a system that rewards merit. That's a system that pushes people into insecure positions.
Not necessarily. In many cases, we put ourselves in situations as well. But when we're talking,
are you saying that it's an individual failure for these single mothers that are working 3 to 4 jobs?
For some of them, it is.
Interesting.
For some of them, it is.
Hey, he's calling a spade a spade. Did you choose who you're mating with? It takes 2 to tango, ma'am. If you know you just met this guy at the club, don't know him too well, let him hit, conceive. So, I mean, this guy's talking 3 to 4 jobs. My mom was divorced too, but she had 1 job,
Glad you bite that bullet, because most people are not going to say that it's a moral failure of people that are
moral
born
failure.
into
No, not a
poverty
mo-
that continue to
let
live
me
out
explain to
cyclical
you. For somebody
poverty.
like me, I came from the single mother system. My mother was a single mother. You know, we had, you know, my parents got a divorce twice. They married each other. They divorced. They remarried each other. Divorced again. I came up. We didn't have a lot of choices. I joined the army. I got in that system. Kind of wanted to see what I was going to do for myself. Do I stay in the army? Do I get out of the army? I started working in sales, and then the incentive of working harder. Eventually, I built a good life for myself.
Again, you're totally dismissing the hard work that a lot of these people are putting into for just basic survival. I'd say that mechanics and plumbers and most people working blue collar jobs that are probably watching this video are working tirelessly day after day.
I don't
But yet
disagree.
Those guys are killing it right now. I'm in Florida. If you're an HVAC guy, you're a plumbing guy, man, they come here. I got an issue. They drop a price. I got to pay it. I had a guy come here. He worked for 30 minutes, $300, man. Those guys are killing it right now. I'm a white collar guy. I've been a blue collar guy. I was in the army, just like my man PBD here. And the blue collar guys are whooping my butt right now.
still feel insecure positions to where they don't even know if they're going to be able to afford rent in the next 6 months.
So let me ask
if
you,
most Americans have a $400 to $500 emergency, they can't even afford that with the basic savings that they have. So this is not something that we should celebrate as promises of a system that gives you more if you work harder. We should say that this is something that rewards few. And I'm glad that you're an outlier that's been able to build a lot of success for yourself. I know that you're a multimillionaire. That's fantastic that you have those resources. But the thing is that cannot happen for everybody in society. It's possible for each individual to do it, but not everybody can be a millionaire. That's guaranteed.
I don't think not everybody can be a billionaire or a millionaire, but I do think people can find ways to use their time to effectively increase their market value. And I don't think many people do that. When I talk to people and they tell me, I've watched this show, I've watched every one of these shows, I've watched every one of these Netflix shows, you can use that time to increase your market value instead of kind of focus on what's going on with the stories and shows that are out there.
Let's move away from Netflix and TV shows and talk specific.
I mean, dude, this guy's making a lot of excuses. I get it. People are tired. They're working jobs. They got to pick up kids in multiple sports, different directions. There's always room. There's always time. It's on you. It's mind over matter. Don't tell me that you're just a victim of society and your circumstances. It's on you. Every decision you made has led you to where you are right now. And PBD is a great example of that.
Specifically about, do you think that capitalism is a system of merit that rewards people that are of higher merit?
I do.
Okay, so how would you say that this is a meritocracy when we have some people that are born into excessive wealth and some people that are working minimum wage jobs to provide for 3 or 4 kids? How would you say that that's a meritocratic society?
Those are two different things.
They are two different things, very unequal things.
Well, no, not necessarily. The parents get credit for making responsible decisions so they can take care of their kids.
Facts.
The
So
parents
it's not a
get credit.
meritocracy though. We're building dynasties of wealth.
Not necessarily. I didn't come from dynasties of wealth.
I know,
came from
you're
a
an outlier.
99 cent
I get that. I get that individual. We're talking about
many,
systems. Capitalism is a system. It's not an individual testimony.
This guy's exhausting. I might have to fast forward him. He won't even let my man speak, dude. Let the guy in the suit speak for a second. You keep cutting him off. You brought him on to argue your point. Let him counter argue, man. Come on, what are we doing?
That you get to use in your advantage. It's a system that's produced the best results than any other economical system. There's not an economical system that's produced better results than this based on the incentive.
History is a march of progress, right? So there are going to be advancements that we make, or there's going to be solutions that we make to previous ailments. I'm not saying that capitalism hasn't brought in better things than systems like feudalism or monarchy, but that does not mean that we're at the end of history. Do you think that capitalism is the final solution? And this is what we're going to do
I think capitalism is the best economical system because it gives an incentive for you to decide how big of a life you want to build. And by the way, the best way to judge it, let me just say this to you. The best way to judge it is in a very simple way. Take all the countries around the world. There's many different economical systems. What has the longest line of people wanting to get in there? It's America. Why is that? 15 million people came here illegally. Millions came here illegally just the last 4 years.
A lot of that is because of economic scarcity in other countries. Well, one of them, we could talk about one, is American exceptionalism, which is continuing.
Great point. Great
Thank
point by PBD. Why is everyone trying to come here? Excuse me. Thanks.
How are you? What's your name?
Hi, I'm Alana. It's nice to meet you. Okay, so I think the issue is the framing of incentive here. Incentive doesn't disappear in a socialist or a communist society. It just changes and evolves. So we see in capitalism, the incentive is obviously monetary gain. maybe even collecting capital itself through land ownership. In a communist or a socialist country, you would see incentive would just evolve into, I know it's a big term, but the common good. You have an incentive
Oh
to do
boy.
your chores around your house because you don't want to live in a filthy house, right? That makes sense. It doesn't have to be just monetary.
So you don't think monetary incentive drives people, or you're saying that people should be excited to do their job, whether they're getting incentivized for it or not? That's what you're saying.
People will be incentivized to do
Give me a case study. Give me a case study of that worked. Give me one case study.
We don't even need to look at case studies. We can just look at charity work.
Well, why don't we actually look at a case study?
Charity work's a weird one because people are writing off charity work as tax incentives. So, I mean, I don't think there'd be nearly as much charity work if they didn't get tax incentives. You be the judge.
You got two countries, North Korea, South Korea. One is communism and one is capitalism.
Yes.
North Korea's GDP last year was $23 billion.
Are we
There are
judging
many
countries' values based
there
off
are many
GDP
that's
and not
because
what
that's
they
a
value
job,
for
freedom of speech.
our
You
humans?
can't, like, if you lived in North Korea,
He didn't get
you
the
wouldn't be
point
able to do what
across,
you're doing
man.
right now. You wouldn't have a
Yeah,
voice. In South Korea, I'm gonna give you stats. In South Korea, their GDP is $1.7
South
trillion.
Korea is also owned by like 5
70
companies in
times-
total in the entire
70
country.
times better
You
than
think
North
that's something to
Korea.
live by? If you are
what I'm
I hope he brings up the malnourishment stat as well. Like if we're gonna have young redhead over here mad as heck that we'll say South Korea is owned by 5 companies. Okay, how the people living? They look healthy, they look happy. I know the only thing that is kind of plummeting in South Korea is the population. You know, they're not meeting reproduction levels, but other than that, yo, I got buddies going on vacation to South Korea. People are doing all right.
employed
saying
by
is
the
people
top
wanna
5
be free.
countries,
Do-
you are
do-
practically
do you like to
unemployed
be
in
free?
these countries.
Do you like to be free?
I'm not going to be free in a country like South Korea where I'm only employed
Do you
in
like
5
to be free
companies
to
or
call
no
somebody
job.
out like me? Do you like to be free where you can have a strong opinion? Do you like to be free to have
I
your
like
dreams
to be
as-
free, but that's why I'm anti-capitalist.
Well, maybe you are
That is
to
why
North
I'm
Korea or
anti-capitalist, because
Cuba or
capitalism
Venezuela.
removes that choice. There is no real incentive of capitalism because the
crazy.
incentive is survival.
if I
when
were
you get
to-
into communism, the incentive is for the common
I
good.
love that. I got an offer for you before we move on. If I were to give you your $2,350, which is the cost to renunciate your citizenship, and I paid you your first class, flight to whatever communist country, and $20,000 to
Name
spend the
me a
money,
communist country.
would you give up your citizenship?
Name your
Name me
own
a communist country. And I'll move
Whichever
on.
communist country you want to go to.
yeah,
Cuba,
then
we
that's
can
not
give
a
you
communist
Venezuela,
country.
we give you North Korea, any one of those you want to
Those
go
aren't
to.
communist countries. That's-
Choose any one of them. I'll give you one-way ticket, and I'll fund it for you if you want to.
that's-
Thank you. Yes.
She didn't take the offer. She said, name me a communist country. He said, whichever one you want, ma'am. Pick one. You pick one. And then he names a bunch of them. She says, those aren't communist. So it's not communist enough? Like, what are we talking about here? Dang, man, these people, it's like, I think they visualize this world where you have like your people gardening, you have your people taking care of the young ones, you have the sun rising and the birds chirping, and it just does not work like that. It does not work like that. Greed will take over. The people at the top will consolidate, and you will be working in a mine with a pickaxe for nothing. And you will get your bread once a week. It's always the same. Anyway, let's go on to the next one.
Hi,
What's your name?
my name's Hunter. I'm going to be honest, I've never seen your videos before. Even though there is some real value to free enterprise,
Yep.
the profit motive often creates a perverse incentive and worse outcomes in certain situations. For example, healthcare. How much would you pay for a life-saving treatment for yourself or one of your family members?
How much would I pay for it?
Say you have cancer and you have an 80% survival rate with chemotherapy and less than 10% without it. How much would you pay? Whatever it takes, right?
Sure.
That's a situation of inelastic demand, when the amount that you're willing to pay is not based on the value of the service because your life does not have a finite value. In the US, 66.5% of all bankruptcies are because of medical debt. In most other developed nations, that number is way lower, if not zero. And at the same time, the US does not have one of the best healthcare systems in the world. We pay over $13,000 per capita. Meanwhile, Taiwan, which by most metrics has the best healthcare system and a national healthcare service, only pays about $2,500 per capita per year.
So what is that?
He might be about to ask this question, but what amount of that GDP per person per capita, right? Like that 2,000 for them might be a lot more than that 14,000. We're gonna find out.
Tell you.
That
tells
tells
you
us-
that's wasted expenditure.
Yes, that is a
So
massively wasted expenditure.
That tells you the government doesn't know how to spend our money.
No,
They keep
in our
raising
case,
taxes,
we're
we keep
spending-
more money, and they don't know how to spend the money.
No, most of that money is coming from private insurance. In fact, 77% of the people who went bankrupt from medical debt had insurance and then lost it because they couldn't pay.
So we can address that, the fact that 60-something% of bankruptcies are due to health, which is your right. We've done many content on that piece. I want you to come back to incentive. Address the issue with incentive right now, with capitalism.
The reason why the medical debt is so high in that is because of the profit motive. If people will pay whatever it takes
profit
to not
motive.
die, the profit motive in that case is perverse because healthcare shouldn't be a market in the same way that other things might be a market.
So you don't think the motive to have profit, to come out with a solution, is a good thing for the marketplace,
I
specifically in
think
the
it
healthcare
depends
side?
on which market you're talking about. It's way different. We're talking about video games or cell phones or TVs or other goods that aren't as necessary as
You're
healthcare
specific to
treatments.
healthcare.
Yes, I'm talking
Okay.
specifically about
So
healthcare.
there's
in certain other markets.
You ever
where
heard of
there's a
Home Depot?
natural-
You ever heard of Home Depot?
Yes, I'm aware.
So one of the guys who's the founders of Home Depot, investors of Home Depot, is
Sure.
Ken Langone. His father died at 62 years old. Ken Langone today is roughly 90 years old, give or take. When he died at 62 years old, he tells the story that if there was a simple thing as blood thinners, his father would have lived to be 90 years old just like he is today.
Yes, that makes sense.
Came because of innovation, which he's been on for many years. My dad's been on blood thinners
Sure,
for the
but
last 40 years. So
I think
the
you're
incentive to create a
conflating
solution-
two things right now. Not
No, it's
all
about
innovation
incentive. It's
is
about
the result
incentive.
of the market, because many healthcare
Most is,
developments are created by research
Sure.
grants from healthcare funding, whether it's in the United States or in
Over
other countries.
2/3.
In most other first world countries,
Yeah.
the result of medical research developments, which are massively outpacing that in the US now because of our inefficiency, because we have a market-based system for healthcare.
A very basic
most
question
of that
for you.
is because
A very basic
of
question for you.
non-market-based systems.
Basic question for you. If that's the case, it keeps going back to the same thing. If it's better in other places than it is here, why are Americans and others not going there? Why are people coming here? It's very basic.
How much does a plane ticket cost?
No, they have the money to go to different places. They don't, because they know America's the greatest country in the world. They know it.
Love this, man. This is amazing. I remember I'm a big Chris Bumstead fan. I think he's like the 6-time classic physique Mr. Olympia. If you've seen him before, he's been on PBD's podcast. I remember Chris Bumstead, multi-millionaire, needed a surgery done in Canada, right? Canada, socialized medicine. You get a number, you wait in line. Guess what he did? He spent his money. He came to the US and got the surgery done. So these people never talk about the dark side of that socialized medicine. And as a veteran, I get to see it with the VA. You know, I have to wait sometimes months for an appointment, right? It's not all rainbows and sunshine. I will say this, he does have a point though. There are issues when it comes to monopolization of the healthcare systems. And even bigger than that, which Trump's addressing, is this incentive to reduce the price that Americans are paying for basic medical supplies. Like essentially the executive order was stating that if insulin costs this much in, let's say, Mexico by the same provider that's charging 10x that for the US, no. US is going to pay the same price that the lowest person is paying. We are done subsidizing the world's medicine. So hopefully something good comes out. We'll find out.
Appreciate
Nice
you.
to meet you, by the way.
Hey, I'm Luke.
Luke?
Yes,
Like the
Luke.
hat. Good to meet you.
Oh, thank you very much. Good to meet you too. So I think incentives are exactly the fundamental problem with capitalism. Is that you say incentives are what make it work, and I think that's the whole issue. Is that the primary incentives are either greed, amass as much personal wealth as you possibly can.
You think that's the problem? It's greed?
Yeah, exactly. And
Because you're not greedy at all.
And like you said, survival, right?
good
The person
question.
working 5 jobs, that they're doing that so they wouldn't want to do that if they didn't need to survive. But that's such a horrible dystopian world to live in. If someone has to work 5 jobs just to survive,
How did they get there? How much of
jobs, what are we
that
talking
is on their decision making? How much of that is on their doing? How much of that is on the market where they're not finding ways to improve themselves?
It doesn't matter how much onus is on the individual. We want to create a
Of course
world.
it is.
No. See, we want to
The
create a
onus
world
is on
in
you.
which people don't have to earn their right to exist.
We live in a country where majority of the world wants to come here. The most important citizenship country is America.
Right.
People give up their lives to come here.
Yep.
Have you ever lived in another country before?
No, not lived. No.
Why do you think so many want to come here?
I think the people coming here are coming from gang-ridden, corruption-ridden, violence-ridden.
You think that's just all it is? You think I came from a gang ridden in Iran? I lived there 11 years.
I think the majority of certainly coming from South
Most
America.
people come here because what you're doing to me, you're sitting across from me right now.
Right.
Millions of people are going to watch this. In America, you can call me out. You can say whatever you want.
Right.
Nothing's going to happen.
Right.
You're free and safe here, right?
Sure.
You can't-
Freedom of speech is
You
nothing to do
can't
with
do that in
capitalism.
Iran. Of course it is. There's a lot of elements with America. You're talking incentive. The amount of benefits America offers against
Right.
other countries, it's so much higher where somebody with big dreams, incentives,
Right.
they're willing to come and say, I want to come to America, please let me in. And
Right.
some come and take advantage of it. But to say the individual that's working 3 to 5 jobs, if you do that for a season, if you do that for 2 years, if you do that for 5 years, fine. If you do that for 20, 30 years, you're doing something wrong.
But the point is, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? Those are the inalienable.
Pursuit of happiness. He just said we shouldn't have to incentivize anything. That's it. Your right to exist. I mean, the last guy has some good arguments. I'll give him that. There are some major issues with the monopolization on insurance and big pharma. We all agree there. But you come out here like, I just deserve to exist. Like, sure, but you got to provide, brother.
Rights. We shouldn't have to earn those rights. We shouldn't have to earn the right to
You do
healthcare.
have to earn it.
Earn the right. No.
I
Because
actually,
this is just, we just want to live,
I-
exist.
I-
We can't work our blood, sweat, and tears just to survive. That's a horrible dystopian world that we live in right
no,
now.
then what do you think we're here for? To just sit around and play video games?
We're
What do you
here.
think we're here for? To
we're-
sit around and watch TV shows?
We're here
to
to
sit and
create,
watch cat
we're
videos?
Here, we are
What do you think
here.
we're putting
We are
to-
here to create a prosperous community to lift
How do you
everyone
create a
up.
prosperous community? How do you
Good
create a
question.
prosperous community? Matter of fact, for you, how have you positively impacted a community?
I guess volunteering, food banks,
Volunteer
habitat
for, I
humanity.
appreciate you for doing that. Have you created jobs for others?
Created jobs? No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say.
Why
so.
have you not?
I haven't had the ability to do so.
Do you think it's easy or do you think it's hard?
To create jobs is probably hard. Yeah.
It's okay. So the people that create jobs, you think they should have a little bit of incentive for having risked their life savings, spend time away their families to create jobs, so somebody like you can work for that company.
Sure, but that does
that is
not,
the incentive.
And bravo for them, but that does not give them the right to pay themselves $2 million bonuses while their workers are scraping by at like $10 an hour.
You don't get to choose how much money I choose to make. That's not your business. That's my business. If you have 4 girlfriends and I have 1, is it my business to tell you can't have 4 girlfriends?
I think
If you play 7 hours of Fortnite every day,
Right.
and I don't play Fortnite at all, should I tell you you shouldn't be able to play 7 hours of Fortnite a day?
In my view,
Hey, appreciate you.
absolutely.
This is absolutely awesome. I'm gonna do some part 2, probably even a part 3 on this. Man, look at this crowd. This anti-capitalist crowd is always interesting to see who they're gonna dig up. Not judging. I'll wait to hear they open their mouths. If you made it this far, like and subscribe. If you liked it, of course. Patrick Bet David, if you see this, Salamaga, Chatori Khube. Anyway, how do I have to Khube Dashte Bashid? See you next time.